Daddy, why is everyone looking at us?
Stay close to me.
Let them ask first. This community has procedures. They don't belong here. This is our home.
Step away from the truck, sir. My deed is in that folder.
He was warned.
Should we say something?
Don't get involved.
Is this really happening?
What are you holding? What are you holding?
The question you should have asked first.
Hands where I can see them. Remove them!
Are you detaining my husband?
Our daughter is standing here. Unit, confirm federal presence.
Now we can begin with the facts.
The patrol car stopped behind the moving truck just as our daughter's hand slipped into mine. Across the lawn, the HOA president pointed at my black wife like she had already decided who belonged and who did not. Why did the officer reach for his cuffs before asking our names? Why did every neighbor suddenly find something else to look at? And why did my wife keep one small leather wallet closed until the last possible second? By the time that federal ID came out, the whole street understood this was not about a mailbox, a driveway, or a rule. It was about what happens when quiet dignity finally meets unchecked power. Step away from the truck, sir. Marcus Reed felt Lila's fingers close around two of his. Her palm was damp from the October heat, and the box at her feet smelled of dusty books. The truck waited behind them. My deed is in that folder, Marcus said. Verify it before this goes further. Officer Dale Mercer did not reach for it. His radio hissed. I said step away. Across the driveway, Marla Whitcomb lifted her chin. He has been warned. This is a private community. Naomi stood behind Marcus, one hand on Lila's shoulder, the other near the small leather wallet in her purse. Warned about what? She asked. Marla faced the neighbors. Unauthorized commercial vehicle, unapproved move-in activity, possible trespassing, and that mailbox plate is not compliant. A man stopped watering roses. A woman in a blue cardigan held her phone up, then lowered it when Mercer glanced over. Curtains moved in 3 houses. Marcus kept his voice level. Officer, this is our home. We closed last Thursday. Mercer looked at him. Then wait while I sort it out. My daughter is standing here. That depends on how calm you stay. Nobody gasped. Lila's grip tightened until Marcus felt the bones in her fingers. He bent slightly. Look at the porch light, baby. Count the moths. There aren't any, she whispered. Then count the windows. Naomi's eyes moved from Mercer's badge to Marla's white folder. Officer Mercer, are you detaining my husband? I'm conducting an inquiry. That isn't an answer. Marla laughed once. This is exactly the attitude I described. A warm breeze carried cut grass, exhaust, and mulch. The ramp chain tapped the metal frame. Once, twice. Mercer seemed to hear only a black family refusing to shrink. Ma'am, he said to Naomi, you need to lower your tone. Her tone had not changed. Mrs. Evelyn Price stood across the street with one hand in her sweater pocket. A phone lens glimmered between her fingers. Theo Grant stopped beside his white mail tub, lips parted around a sentence he did not release. Marcus saw them both. He said nothing. Marla stepped closer. I want them removed until the board can review this. You don't remove owners from their own driveway, Naomi said. You people keep saying owners like that settles everything. The street went still. Mercer looked at Marcus. Hands where I can see them. Marcus lifted both hands. Lila's fingers slid away from his and hovered in the air. Naomi caught her wrist before it dropped. Dale, Officer Lena Ortiz called from the 2nd patrol car. What do we have? A property dispute, Mercer said. Naomi answered too. A documented homeowner being blocked from entering his house. Ortiz stepped out, dark hair pinned tight. Her eyes went to the truck, the child, the folder near the wheel, then to Marla. Who verified ownership? No one answered. A cicada buzzed from the maple tree and quit. Naomi opened her purse. The zipper sounded small and final. Marcus did not turn around. Naomi, I know, she said. Her hand closed around the leather wallet, but she kept it low against her skirt. Mercer noticed. What is that? Naomi looked at him for one long second. The question you should have asked before you blocked our driveway. At 6:45 that morning, Marcus turned the key in the front door and let Lila push it open. It smells empty, she said. Fresh paint, Naomi answered, stepping in with 2 paper cups of coffee. And old carpet. Marcus smiled. Official scent of a new beginning. The house on Willow Creek Lane had a yellow porch, white railings, and a maple dropping leaves into the gutters. Sunlight crossed the living room and touched boxes marked Kitchen, Lila, Coats. Inside the walls, the air conditioning clicked and breathed out a draft. Lila spun on the hardwood. Can my room be the one with the window seat? It already is, Marcus said. You didn't even look. I know my clients. Naomi raised an eyebrow. Your clients? My most important one. Lila smiled and dragged a small box toward the stairs, cardboard rasping against the floor. Marcus waited until she turned the corner. Then he touched the old photograph in his shirt pocket. Naomi noticed. Your dad? Marcus slid it out. The corners had softened from years in his wallet. His father stood before a rented brick duplex, work shirt buttoned wrong, one hand shading his eyes. He used to park near neighborhoods like this, Marcus said, just to rest between jobs. Naomi's voice softened. He would have liked the porch. He would have fixed it first. Then we'll fix it. Outside, the moving truck backed toward the driveway with a long beep. A sprinkler clicked across a lawn. Marcus folded the photograph along its old crease and returned it to his pocket. Across the street, Mrs. Evelyn Price stood behind a lace curtain, silver hair pinned high, a mug held to her chest. Neighbor? Naomi asked. Witness, Marcus said. Don't start. I didn't. She did. Naomi stepped beside him. Today is for boxes, not battles. Marcus nodded. Boxes. A white mail truck slowed at the curb. Theo Grant, a lean young postal worker with earbuds around his neck, leaned out. New folks? That's us, Marcus said. Theo checked the bundle. Read? Good sign. Theo handed him 3 letters and a glossy HOA packet sealed in plastic. Welcome to Willow Creek. Mailbox still has the old plate. They can get particular. Particular how? Naomi asked. Theo glanced toward the corner house. Depends who is watching. Before Marcus could answer, Lila appeared on the porch holding a stuffed rabbit by one ear. Daddy, the window seat has a scratch shaped like a moon. Then it's yours, he said. A door opened down the street. A woman in pressed white slacks stepped onto the sidewalk carrying a white folder against her ribs. Her blonde hair did not move in the breeze. Theo lowered his voice. That's Mrs. Whitcomb, HOA president. Naomi turned the packet over. Already? We haven't even plugged in the lamps, Marcus said. Theo gave a small, apologetic shrug. I'd read that before lunch. The truck ramp slammed behind them, sharp enough to make Lila flinch. She looked at the porch, then at the woman coming closer, and pretended to fix the rabbit's ear. Naomi touched Marcus's sleeve. First box together. Marcus lifted the nearest carton and carried it toward the yellow door. In his pocket, the photograph bent against his chest. Across the street, the lace curtain opened wider. The white folder tapped Marla Whitcomb's palm before she said hello. Marcus stood halfway up the porch steps with the carton against his chest. Tape pulled at his forearm, and lemon paint warmed the doorway. Lila had just set her rabbit on the window seat when tapping came again. "Excuse me," Marla called. "You can't stage boxes on the front approach." Naomi turned with the unopened HOA packet. "Good morning. It will be, once we establish what is happening here. We're moving in," Marcus said. Marla looked at the truck, then at his t-shirt. "Are the owners present?" Marcus lowered the carton. "I'm Marcus Reed. This is our house." Behind her stood Glenn Whitcomb, glasses, gray polo, hands around a travel mug. He watched his wife like someone watching a cup slide toward an edge. Marla opened the folder. "There are procedures. Then we'll follow them. You were supposed to request access 2 days before arrival." Naomi lifted the packet. "This arrived with the morning mail." "That is not my fault." "No one said it was," Marcus replied. The folder tapped again. "Commercial vehicles need approval. Ramps can't block the sidewalk. Boxes can't stay visible from the street. That mailbox plate is non-compliant." Lila stepped onto the porch with the rabbit pressed to her ribs. "Daddy, is the truck wrong?" "The truck leaves today," Marcus said. "That's not an answer. It is the remedy." Theo Grant stood by the mailbox pretending to sort letters. Across the street, Evelyn's lace curtain opened just enough to show one eye. Naomi came down one step. "Mrs. Whitcomb, we closed last Thursday. Email the form and we'll complete it." "Residents respect process." "We respect process," Naomi said. "We also just got here." Marla's gaze slid over her. "And who authorized you to park there?" Naomi blinked once. "Our driveway did." Marcus picked up the carton. "We're moving these inside." "I'm not finished." He stopped. The box corner pressed into his ribs. His smile left his face. Lila's hand found the porch rail. Marla stepped closer. Her perfume was sharp, like crushed flowers. "People move in quickly, claim confusion, and standards begin to slip." Naomi's voice stayed even. "What people?" "You know exactly what I mean." "No," Marcus said. "Say the rule." The folder stopped tapping. A dog barked behind a fence. The ramp groaned in the heat. Glenn cleared his throat. "Marla, maybe let them unload first." "The board gave me authority." "To interrupt a family carrying boxes?" Naomi asked. "In a documented violation." Marcus set the carton down. "Show me the document." Marla held the folder to her chest. "Residents receive documents after verification." "We are residents." "That remains to be confirmed." Naomi's fingers tightened around the packet. Marcus gave the smallest shake of his head. "If you refuse cooperation," Marla said, "I will record this as hostile noncompliance." Lila whispered, "Daddy, are we in trouble?" Marcus crouched until his eyes met hers. "No, we're home." The word seemed to offend Marla. She pulled a pen from the folder spine and clicked it twice. Behind her curtain, Evelyn reached below the windowsill as Marla wrote Marcus's name on the page, pressing so hard the paper bowed. The pen tore through the top sheet. "Now I'll need a clean incident form," Marla said. Marcus stayed beside Lila on the porch step. "Incident? Exterior signage, commercial obstruction, failure to verify occupancy." Naomi stepped onto the walk with the unopened HOA packet. "The mailbox plate belonged to the previous owner." "That plate is attached to your property now." Theo Grant coughed near the curb. Heat lifted a rubber smell from the asphalt, and the brass plate flashed yellow in Marcus's eyes. "The truck has been here less than half an hour," Marcus said. 28 minutes, Marla replied. "Do not instruct me how to document my community." Lila crushed a dry leaf in her fist. Naomi watched the pieces fall between the girl's fingers. "Show us the mailbox rule," Naomi said. Marla opened the folder. Pages fluttered. "Section 4. Visible fixtures require prior approval." Prior to what? The plate was here before closing. It should have been corrected during transfer. Marcus walked to the mailbox. Damp grass brushed his ankles. The plate read, "Harrison" in faded black letters, one screw loose at the corner. He touched it, and the brass rattled. Theo shifted his mail tub. "That's been crooked since I took this route." Marla turned. "Excuse me?" 2 years, maybe. Mr. Harrison never changed it." "That is not relevant." "It was fine yesterday." "Your job is delivery, Mr. Grant." Theo looked down at the letters. "Yes, ma'am." Naomi watched Marla's thumb slide over the top page. A blue number was stamped near the margin, WCE-1174. Under it, Naomi caught the words, "Possible unauthorized occupants." "Marcus," she said. "When was that complaint opened?" Naomi asked. "This morning." "What time?" "Board documents are internal." "You opened it before speaking to us." "I observed violations." "From where?" The question sat between them. Across the street, Evelyn's curtain drew back and held. Marla tucked the page deeper. "I don't owe explanations for maintaining standards." Marcus worked the loose screw with his fingers. It came free, warm and gritty. "I can remove the plate now." "No," Marla snapped. Lila flinched. Marla softened too late. "Any alteration requires approval." "So it violates the rule if it stays," Naomi said, "and violates the rule if he removes it." "It violates process because you failed to ask." Marcus placed the screw on top of the mailbox. "Our daughter is hearing this." Marla finally looked at Lila, standing in the open doorway with the stuffed rabbit under her chin. "Then teach her rules," Marla said. Naomi let a beat pass. "We are." A phone buzzed inside Marla's folder. She angled the screen away, but Naomi saw the name before it vanished. Dale M. Marla declined it, then tapped another number. "Who are you calling?" Marcus asked. "Someone who can resolve unauthorized presence." Theo's mail tub bumped his knee. Evelyn's curtain disappeared, and a second later, her front door opened. Naomi folded the HOA packet once. "Choose the exact words carefully, Mrs. Whitcomb." Marla lifted the phone to her ear. The crooked brass plate trembled in the breeze, still carrying another family's name, while she told dispatch the new one did not belong. Marla put the call on speaker before dispatch finished the first question. "Yes, Willow Creek Estates," she said, turning so her voice carried over the lawns. "Unauthorized people at a residence, a commercial truck blocking access, refusal to comply." Marcus stood by the mailbox with the loose screw in his palm. It left a black crescent on his skin. Naomi moved closer to Lila. "That is not accurate." "They claim they own the home," Marla said, "but no one has verified it." The dispatcher crackled through the phone. "Is anyone threatening you, ma'am?" Marla looked at Marcus. He did not move. "They are being aggressive." Theo Grant's head came up. "Mrs. Whitcomb, stay out of this." A mower shut off down the block. The quiet sharpened every sound. The truck ticking. Lila's rabbit scraping the rail. Paper sliding inside Naomi's HOA packet. Marcus opened his hand. "Naomi, take Lila inside." Lila whispered, "Did I do something?" "No," Naomi said. "Pick up your books first." The girl reached for a box labeled Stories, but her fingers caught the torn flap. The bottom gave way. Books hit the driveway in a soft scatter. Picture books, chapter books, a purple notebook. One slid until it touched Marla's shoe. No one bent down. Marla kept speaking. "Yes, there is a child present. That is part of my concern." Naomi knelt. The asphalt pressed heat through her skirt. She gathered the book slowly, dust on her fingertips, mouth held straight. Marcus took one step toward them. "Sir, remain where you are," the dispatcher said. Marla smiled. Evelyn Price crossed halfway from her lawn, cardigan buttoned wrong, phone low. "Marla, I watched them open the door with the key." Marla covered the phone. "Don't embarrass yourself." Evelyn stopped. Her eyes went to the books. Theo set the mail tub down. "The closing envelope came today. I delivered it." "You delivered mail," Marla said. "You did not verify ownership." Naomi placed a book into the broken box. "Marcus, don't answer her." "I wasn't going to." Marla snapped. "Who authorized the moving company?" Two movers froze near the ramp, one with a blue sofa strap. The canvas smelled of dust and sweat. Marcus said, "I hired them." "Then you admit responsibility for the violation." "I accept responsibility for moving into my house." Naomi rose with the box. One book remained near Marla's shoe, open to a drawing of a yellow house. Lila stepped off the porch. "That's mine." Marla did not move. Marcus's voice dropped. "Mrs. Whitcomb." "What?" "Move your shoe." For the first time, Marla looked down. The toe of her beige heel rested on the book's corner. She lifted it as if the book were damp. Lila grabbed it and ran back to Naomi. The dispatcher said, "An officer is en route." A blind clicked shut. Glenn Whitcomb stood at his driveway, travel mug forgotten in his hand. "Marla," he called, "maybe let Dale handle it." Naomi's eyes flicked to him. "Dale?" Marla's smile thinned. "Officer Mercer has assisted this community before." Marcus wiped grit from the screw onto his jeans. "Then he can start with the record." Far off, a siren chirped once at the gate. Marla closed her white folder against her chest, and Lila held the bent book so tightly its pages trembled. The siren chirped at the gate, then died. Lila held the bent book against Naomi's skirt. Marcus stayed by the mailbox, the loose screw blackening his fingertips. Heat lifted rubber, grass, and damp leaves from the asphalt. The patrol car stopped behind the moving truck. Marla reached it before the door opened. "Dale, thank goodness." Officer Dale Mercer stepped out. "Mrs. Whitcomb." Naomi heard the name. Marcus heard it too. Neither spoke. Mercer looked past Marla at the black family in the driveway. "Who's the homeowner?" "I am," Marcus said. "He claims he is," Marla added, "and he refused to comply." Theo Grant lifted a hand. "That's not what happened." Mercer turned. "Are you involved?" "I deliver here." "Then deliver." Naomi raised the closing envelope. "Officer, we can show ownership documents." "Ma'am, give me a minute." "You asked who owned the house." "I said give me a minute." Across the street, Evelyn Price held her phone low against her cardigan. A red dot glowed on the screen. Marcus stepped toward the truck cab. "The deed is in a folder on the seat." Mercer snapped, "Don't reach into the vehicle." Marcus stopped, palm open. Naomi said, "He told you what he was reaching for." "I heard him." "Then why treat it like something else?" "Because I'm conducting the call." Inside the house, the air conditioner rattled through an open window. Mercer pointed at the patrol car hood. "Documents there." Slowly. Marcus lifted the blue folder with 2 fingers and set it on the hood. The hot metal curled the corner. Mercer opened it, glanced at the first page, and paused at the name. Marcus Reed. A second patrol car rolled up. Officer Lena Ortiz stepped out, notebook already open. "Dale, what do we have?" "Property dispute," Mercer said, closing the folder halfway. Naomi answered, "A documented homeowner being blocked from entering his home." Ortiz looked at the folder. "Who verified ownership?" Mercer did not answer. Marcus said, "The document is on your hood." A sprinkler clicked across the grass. Evelyn's phone rose an inch. Ortiz reached for the folder. Mercer held it a second too long. She read the first page. Closing was last Thursday. Marla tightened her grip on the white folder. HOA approval is separate. Separate from ownership, Ortiz said. Mercer gave her a hard look. "I've got it." Lila whispered, "Daddy, can we go inside now?" Marcus bent without lowering his hands. "Count the porch steps, baby." 3. Good. Mercer stepped closer. "Sir, move farther from the truck." "I'm already away." "Farther." Marcus stepped back. Gravel cracked under his heel. Marla tapped her folder. "The mailbox violation remains." Evelyn's voice came from across the street. "That plate was there yesterday." Everyone turned. Her phone was visible now, red dot bright in the sun. Mercer's face tightened. "Are you recording?" Evelyn swallowed. "I'm making sure I remember correctly." Ortiz looked from the phone to Marla's folder, then to the papers on the hood. "Dale, call it in before this gets bigger." But the street had already changed. Curtains opened. Phones appeared at chest height. Naomi's hand slid into her purse and closed around the small leather wallet, still unseen. A gust lifted the top sheet off Mercer's patrol hood. Marcus saw the deed flip once, flash white in the sun, and skate across the driveway. One page slid beneath Marla Whitcomb's beige heel. "Don't move," Mercer said. Marcus froze with both hands open. "Those are my documents. They're part of this inquiry. They were proof 10 seconds ago." Ortiz bent for a page near the tire. "Dale, the wind took them." "I said I've got it." Naomi held Lila close. "Mommy, why is the paper on the ground?" "Because adults are making this harder than it has to be." Marla saw the page under her shoe and did not move. "Mrs. Whitcomb," Marcus said, "you're standing on the document. This is an HOA-maintained common approach. This is the street. It is governed space." Ortiz straightened. "Mrs. Whitcomb, step back." Marla shifted slowly, grinding the paper edge before freeing it. Theo Grant looked away. Evelyn Price's phone rose higher. Mercer pointed at Marcus. "Stop directing people." "I asked her not to damage my deed." "You're escalating." Naomi's fingers moved inside her purse, then stilled. "Officer, he has obeyed every instruction." Marla snapped her white folder shut. "You hear that tone? This is what I meant." Another page caught against the mailbox post. Marcus stayed still. The loose brass screw in his palm bit into his skin. Then the old photograph slipped from his shirt pocket. It landed face up beside the deed, his father outside a rented brick duplex, one hand shading his eyes from another decade. Lila saw it first. "Grandpa," she whispered. Marcus's hand twitched. "Sir," Mercer warned, "it's a photograph. Do not reach down." The street held its breath. Marcus looked at his father's paper face on the hot asphalt and lowered his hand back to his side. Naomi spoke quietly. "Dale Mercer, badge number?" He turned. "Excuse me?" "Badge number. Report number. Legal basis for preventing a homeowner from retrieving personal property." Ortiz glanced at her. Something in Naomi's calm had weight now. Mercer stepped closer to Marcus. "Hands on the hood." Ortiz said, "Dale, hands on the hood." Marcus looked at Naomi. She gave the smallest shake of her head. He placed his palms on the patrol car. The metal burned through the heat of the day. Lila made a small, choking sound, and Naomi pulled her against her hip. Marla said, "Thank you, officer." No one answered. Mercer leaned near Marcus's shoulder. "You could have avoided this." Marcus kept his eyes on the photograph. "By not coming home?" Ortiz gathered the scattered pages. When she reached the photograph, she picked it up by the corner. "Sir," she said, "is this yours?" Marcus did not turn. "My father." Leila stepped forward before Naomi caught her sleeve. "Please don't bend it." Ortiz looked at the little girl, then at Mercer. "Dale, we need Sergeant Bell." Mercer's hand tightened on the hood. "Not yet." Naomi took the leather wallet from her purse, but kept it closed at her side. "Then tell us exactly when." The radio hissed inside the open patrol door. The documents trembled in Ortiz's hand, and the photograph of Marcus's father lay on top, staring past all of them toward the yellow porch. "Put your hands flat and keep them there," Mercer said. Marcus spread his palms on the patrol car door. The metal had cooled in shade, but it bit through dust and sweat. His father's photograph rested in Ortiz's grip, not in his pocket. Naomi stepped forward. "Are you detaining him?" Mercer did not look at her. "Stand back." "That is not an answer." "I'm separating parties until I establish facts." "The facts are in Officer Ortiz's hand and on your hood." Marla gave a laugh. "This is why residents call us first." Lila stood beside Naomi with both arms around the bent book. She had stopped crying. Her eyes stayed on Marcus's hands. "Daddy," she said, above the sprinkler, "can you feel the car?" "I can." "Is it cold?" "A little." The lie fit between them. Ortiz sorted the pages. "Dale, the deed matches his ID. The closing date matches the envelope. There's no trespass." Mercer's jaw worked. "We have a complainant alleging refusal to comply." "With an HOA rule," Ortiz said. "Not a crime." Naomi's hand tightened around the closed leather wallet. "Call your supervisor." "You don't direct police procedure." "My husband's movement is restricted after he produced ownership documents." "He is not under arrest." "Then he can step away." Mercer said nothing. Across the street, Evelyn lowered her phone. Her thumb trembled. Glenn Whitcomb walked from his driveway. "Marla," he said, "maybe we should let this settle." "It is settling," she snapped. Ortiz lifted her radio. "Unit 2 requesting Sergeant Bell to Willow Creek Estates. Documentation conflict." Mercer reached for the radio, then stopped as Evelyn's phone rose again. The radio cracked. "Bell here. What's the issue?" Ortiz answered first. "Homeowner provided closing documents. HOA complainant disputes access. Subject at patrol vehicle, not cuffed." Static filled the street. Bell's voice returned. "Why is the homeowner at the vehicle if documents were provided?" Mercer took the radio. "Sir, subject was argumentative and approaching papers." Marcus stared at the yellow porch. One leaf slid along the step and caught against Lila's shoe. Naomi said, "He reached for a photograph of his father." Marla muttered, "That's not relevant." Lila looked at her. "It is to us." Bell's voice sharpened. "Officer Mercer, confirm probable cause for arrest." Mercer's eyes flicked to Marla. "Not at this time." "Then de-escalate. Verify the civil matter." The radio clicked dead. Ortiz held the photograph out to Naomi. "I'm sorry. I didn't want it to blow away." Naomi took it with 2 fingers, brushed one corner clean, and placed it against Lila's book. "Dale," Ortiz said. Mercer inhaled through his nose. "Mr. Reed, step back from the vehicle." Marcus lowered his palms. Pale dust marked both hands. He did not rub it off. Naomi's eyes moved to the marks. Report number. You'll get it. Now. Phones waited. Curtains no longer hid anyone. He recited the number, each digit smaller than the last. Naomi repeated it once, perfectly, and the wallet stayed closed in her hand. Marla leaned toward Mercer and whispered, "You cannot let them intimidate you." Ortiz heard it. So did Marcus. Mercer looked at Naomi's closed wallet. "Ma'am, what are you holding?" Naomi did not open the wallet. She held it at her side, thumb on the worn snap, while Mercer stared as if the leather square had changed the temperature of the street. "I asked what you're holding," he said. "My identification." "Then show it." "To whom?" "To me." Naomi's eyes moved to Marcus's dusty palms, then to Lila's bent book with the photograph tucked against its cover. "Before I do, I need your badge number, report number, and legal basis you used after confirming his deed." Mercer's face reddened. "Ma'am, don't play games." "I'm not." Marla stepped in. "Dale, she's distracting you." Ortiz turned toward her. "Let him answer." Leaves scraped along the curb. Someone's phone chimed and was silenced fast. Mercer said, "Badge 417, report 26-1948. Temporary control during a complaint dispute." "Name of complainant?" Marla's folder snapped open. "That is confidential HOA business." "The police record is not your folder," Naomi said. Evelyn called softly. "Answer her, officer." Mercer's jaw tightened. "Mrs. Whitcomb called." Theo shifted beside the mail tub. "Before she talked to them." Marla swung around. "You have no idea what I documented." "I heard the call," Theo said. "Everyone did." Naomi lifted the wallet. The leather creaked, soft and dry. She opened it only halfway, low enough that Lila could not read it, high enough for Ortiz. Ortiz's expression changed first. Her shoulders squared. "Ma'am," Ortiz said carefully. "May I see that again?" Naomi handed it to her, not Mercer. "Senior Compliance Investigator Naomi Reed, Federal Housing Integrity Office." Marla's mouth stayed open around a word that did not come out. Mercer reached for the wallet. Ortiz held it back. "I've got it." Naomi said, "I am off duty. I moved here as a resident. But when an HOA complaint and a police response interfere with housing access, documentation, and unequal treatment, I have an obligation to preserve facts." The words did not rise. They landed. Lila looked up. "Is Mommy in trouble?" Naomi crouched. "No, baby. Mommy is using her work voice." Mercer cleared his throat. "Federal or not, this is still a local matter." Ortiz gave him a hard look. "Dale." Naomi stood. "A local matter can become a federal record when the pattern is wider than one driveway." Marla found her voice. "Pattern? This is about rules." "Then your rules will be easy to review. You people come in and immediately threaten lawsuits." Naomi's face did not move. "Say exactly who you mean by you people, for the record." No one breathed loudly enough to cover it. Phones were now held at eye level. "I meant non-compliant residents," Marla said. Ortiz wrote it down. Mercer stepped closer. "You should have identified yourself at the start." "I identified my husband as the homeowner. You ignored that." "That would have simplified things." "No," Marcus said. Everyone turned. His voice was low. "Doing your job would have simplified things." The radio on Ortiz's shoulder crackled. "Unit 2, Sergeant Bell requesting confirmation. Did someone say federal?" Ortiz lifted the mic, still holding Naomi's ID wallet. Marla's heel clicked once as she stepped back. For the first time, The white folder hung open and useless at her side. Ortiz lifted the radio. Sergeant Bell, confirming a federal housing compliance investigator on scene. Identification verified. The street went quiet enough for Marla's folder to rasp against her skirt. The sprinkler clicked over the curb. Warm water hit concrete and sent up a mineral smell. Bell's voice came through smaller now. Name an agency? Naomi stood beside Lila, the wallet open in Ortiz's hand. Naomi Reed, Senior Compliance Investigator, Federal Housing Integrity Office. I'll give my credential number directly to you, not over open radio. Mercer shifted. Sir, she didn't identify herself during initial contact. Marcus kept his dusty palms visible. She identified us as homeowners. Bell answered, Officer Mercer, step away from the complainant and preserve this as a civil housing access incident until I arrive. Marla's mouth tightened. This is my neighborhood. Then your statement can be recorded, Ortiz said. Glenn crossed from his driveway, hands around a travel mug. Marla, stop. Go home. No. His eyes fell to Lila's bent book. Not this time. Naomi closed the wallet with a soft snap. Housing access remains protected when the person blocked is carrying boxes. The radio hissed. Dispatch is patching in County Housing Council. Marla blinked. County Council? For a mailbox? Theo Grant said, It wasn't just a mailbox. A woman's voice replaced Bell's, steady through static. This is Dana Brooks, County Housing Attorney. Who has authority for the HOA? Marla Whitcomb, Board President. And the homeowner, Marcus said. Marcus Reed. Mr. Reed, are you free to enter your residence? He looked at Mercer, then at the patrol car blocking the driveway. Not practically. Officer Ortiz, document that phrase. Ortiz wrote it down. Naomi folded the closing papers. Grit clung to them. One corner carried the mark from Marla's heel, and Layla watched it as if paper could bruise. Donna continued. Mrs. Whitcomb, has this HOA received prior complaints about selective enforcement or police calls before board verification? Marla's folder dipped. I don't have those records memorized. Glenn spoke first. 2 letters last spring, one from the Patel family in July. Glenn. I filed them. Phones rose on porches. Mercer exhaled. That doesn't involve my call. Naomi said, It may involve what you believed when you arrived. A patrol engine ticked. Glass clinked inside the moving truck. Dana said, Mrs. Reed, as an impacted party, the federal review requires a declaration. You understand conflict rules? I do. You cannot lead the inquiry. I won't. But you may preserve evidence. Naomi looked at Evelyn Price. Evelyn's phone lowered like it had become heavy. Yes, Naomi said. Witnesses can choose whether to be part of the record. Evelyn crossed the street. I have video, Marla whispered. Evelyn, don't. I started before the officer came. Lila leaned against Marcus. Can we go inside now? Marcus brushed the bent edge of her book. Soon. Ortiz handed him his father's photograph. He wiped dust from the old paper and slid it in his shirt pocket. From the radio, Dana Brooks said, Then keep every recording. Tomorrow morning, I want copies from every angle. At 9:12 the next morning, Evelyn Price placed her phone on county conference table with both hands. The screen trembled after she let go. On it, Marcus stood beside the patrol car, one palm marked with pale dust, while Marla's beige shoe pinned the deed. The room smelled of burnt coffee, toner, and rain from coats on chairs. Riley Chen, 29, a record specialist with round glasses and an ink stain on his cuff, leaned closer. Original file? Yes. Evelyn swallowed. I didn't edit it. Donna Brooks nodded. We'll copy it in your presence. Naomi sat beside Marcus. In her purse, Lila's bent book pressed against her knee. Marcus kept his hands folded. She was scared to bring it. Evelyn looked at him. I should have stepped out sooner. You stepped out. Not soon enough. Riley connected the phone. The paused driveway image bloomed on the wall. Folder, patrol hood, Mercer's shoulder blocking the frame. Donna clicked a pen. Mrs. Reed, because you are impacted, you will not question witnesses. I understand, Naomi said. Marla sat 3 chairs away with Glenn beside her. Her white HOA folder looked thinner. Mercer was absent. Sergeant Bell had sent notice that review had begun. Donna turned to Theo. You delivered mail to the Reed address? Theo held his cap. Closing envelope and HOA packet. Did the mailbox plate exist before they arrived? For years. Old owner's name. Same screw. Marla exhaled. A mail carrier cannot interpret design standards. He can say what he saw, Dana said. Riley opened a second file. Dispatch audio. The speaker crackled. Marla's recorded voice filled the room. Unauthorized people, refusal to comply, possible trespassing. Naomi touched Marcus's wrist. Dispatch asked, Is anyone threatening you, ma'am? A pause. Marla answered, They are being aggressive. On the video, Marcus stood with open hands. Glenn took off his glasses. Marla. She stared at the wall. I felt pressured. By what action? Dana asked. By the situation. Riley placed a timeline beside Dana. Complaint WCE-1174 was created at 6:18 a.m. yesterday. Marcus looked up. We arrived at 6:45. Gate log confirms it. The form opened 27 minutes before the truck reached the entrance. Glenn's mug touched the table with a dull sound. Before they came? Marla gripped the folder. I had concerns about the sale. What concerns? The board has a right to know who is entering. Ownership records are public after closing, Dana said. This form says possible unauthorized occupants before contact. Rain tapped the window. Theo spoke quietly. The gate guard said Mrs. Whitcomb called that morning, asked if the new family had help with them. Riley wrote it down. Dana slid the timeline toward Marla. Open HOA hearing tomorrow evening. Bring board emails, call logs, and prior complaints. Marla stood too fast. Her chair legs squealed. This is becoming a spectacle. Naomi finally spoke. Yesterday was a spectacle. Marcus looked at the frozen image. His father's photograph was a pale rectangle near the tire, barely visible until Riley zoomed in. Everyone saw it then. Dana lowered her pen. Tomorrow, we discuss why no one bent down before the paper had to become evidence. At 6:58 p.m., the clubhouse lights hummed above rows of folding chairs. Lila sat between Marcus and Naomi with a yellow crayon in her fist. On the paper, she had drawn their porch, 3 steps, the maple tree, and a blank where the patrol car had been. Do you want another color? Marcus asked. No, she whispered. That part stays empty. Across the room, Marla Whitcomb adjusted the microphone until it squealed. She wore navy instead of white, but the same folder lay on the table. Glenn sat 2 seats away. Amelia Ross, 61, the temporary HOA mediator, stood in the aisle. Silver hair framed her jaw. Her voice made the room stop rustling. This hearing concerns October 17th, she said. Residents will speak one at a time. Pastor Caleb Moore, a broad-shouldered neighbor in a brown jacket, folded his hands near the back. And we will listen one at a time. Marla leaned toward the microphone. This was a misunderstanding. Dana Brooks slid a transcript forward. Mrs. Whitcomb, we'll compare statements to the record. Riley dimmed the lights. Evelyn's video filled the wall. Marcus by the mailbox. Lila clutching her book. Marla's phone on speaker. The recorded Marla said, "Unauthorized people at a residence." Amelia asked, "Had you verified whether Mr. Reed owned the residence?" Marla's throat moved. "No." "Had you asked to see proof?" "I had concerns." "That wasn't my question." "No." Lila pressed harder with the yellow crayon. Wax dust gathered under her knuckles. Mercer sat near the side wall in plain clothes. Sergeant Bell turned to him. "Officer Mercer, when did you examine the deed?" "After I spoke with Mrs. Whitcomb." "And before restricting Mr. Reed's movement?" "I glanced at it." "Did you confirm it?" "No." The room seemed to shrink around that word. The air smelled of coffee, polish, and damp wool coats. Pastor Moore stood. "I saw from my porch after the second car came. I didn't cross the street." He swallowed. "I told myself officers had it handled." Evelyn lowered her head. Theo raised a hand. "I tried to say the plate was old. I stopped when Officer Mercer told me to deliver." Marla gripped the folder. "Everyone is acting like I invented rules." Donna opened another page. "The rules exist. The problem is how they were used." Glenn spoke without lifting his eyes. "The board emails show Marla asked about the buyers before closing. I answered some." Marla turned. "Glenn?" He took off his glasses. "I signed forms I didn't read." The microphone caught his breath. Riley displayed Lila's drawing beside the video still of the patrol car. Yellow porch. Empty space. Amelia looked at the room. That is where a child chose not to draw what happened. No one spoke. Marcus picked up the crayon when it rolled from Lila's hand. Marla's voice came small. "I didn't know she saw it that way." Naomi looked at her. "She saw where she was standing." Bell closed his folder. "Officer Mercer's conduct remains under review. This HOA must produce a corrective plan within 10 days. Amelia turned to the residents. "Tomorrow, we begin with prior complaints and board procedure." As chairs scraped back, Lila slid the drawing into Marcus's hand. The white space was the first thing he saw. At 4:06 p.m. the following Friday, the county room filled without anyone speaking above a chair scrape. A stack of HOA protocols sat before Glenn Whitcomb, paper-clipped and marked with blue tabs. Marla sat across the aisle, her white folder replaced by a brown envelope. Dana Brooks stood at the front. "This is a preliminary report, not a final order." Riley Chen brought the first page onto the wall. Marcus felt Lila's drawing folded inside his coat pocket. Naomi sat beside him, so still only the clasp of her bag moved. Dana read, "The board president exceeded authority by initiating police contact before verifying ownership, rule status, or immediate risk." Marla's fingers curled around the envelope. The board had no written threshold for police referrals and failed to document evidence before classifying residents as unauthorized occupants. The responding officer restricted a homeowner's movement after ownership documents were presented, without verification. No one clapped. The words landed like dropped keys on tile. Marla lifted her hand. "May I respond?" "Briefly." She stood. "I believed I was protecting the neighborhood." Dana asked, "From what?" Marla's answer came late. "From disorder." Theo Grant shook his head. "They were carrying boxes." "You keep reducing it." "No, I keep remembering it." Sergeant Bell stepped forward. "Officer Mercer has been placed on review. His housing dispute calls are being audited." Mercer stared at the wall. "Sergeant—" "Not here." Cold air pushed under the table. Marcus rubbed his thumb over dust that was no longer there. Glenn rose with the stack. "I have something." Marla looked at him, as if he had opened a door behind her. He stopped in front of Marcus. Old procedures, drafts, emails, meeting notes. Glenn swallowed. I signed minutes for years. I didn't read half. I told myself Marla handled details. Naomi said, "You were treasurer." Yes. The stack sagged. It was easier to look responsible than be responsible. Marcus took the papers. Glenn did not offer his hand, and Marcus did not offer his. "Glenn, don't make yourself noble," Marla said. He turned. "I'm not." Dana accepted the stack. Riley slid a receipt form across the table. "Mr. Reed," Dana said, "do you wish to make a statement today?" Lila's white space flashed in Marcus's mind. He shook his head. "Not today." Naomi leaned toward the microphone. "Then I will make one request." Dana nodded. "Do not end this with one resignation and one officer's file," Naomi said. "If the form remains the same, the next family will stand in a different driveway with the same problem. Require evidence before police referrals. Require a second board signature. Require written notice before escalation when there is no immediate danger. And require officers to verify documents before controlling bodies." Belle wrote as she spoke. Amelia Ross did too. Marcus unfolded Lila's drawing and placed it beside Glenn's receipt. Yellow porch facing up. The empty white space seemed brighter under the fluorescent lights. Dana looked at it. "The corrective plan meeting will be Monday." Riley's scanner clicked before Marcus picked the drawing up, preserving the blank place where a rule had become a warning. Monday at 7:30 p.m., the clubhouse printer spat out the first new complaint form with a tired cough. Marcus stood at the long table while Naomi read the top page. The room smelled of toner, cleaner, and cold coffee. Rain tapped the windows. Lila, coloring at the corner, heard every page slide. Dana Brooks pointed to the bold line in the middle. What evidence was reviewed first? Amelia Ross adjusted her glasses. "That question stays on page 1. A board member frowned. "It feels accusatory." Naomi looked up. "It is preventative." Marcus turned the page toward him. "A rule should slow people down before they call someone with a badge." Sergeant Bell sat beside Officer Ortiz. Mercer's empty chair remained near the wall. Bell cleared his throat. "Our department will mirror it. Document review before control. Supervisor notice if ownership is disputed." Theo Grant lifted 2 fingers. "Can residents see the form?" "They should," Marcus said. Marla's nameplate had been removed from the HOA table. A pale rectangle remained. Glenn Whitcomb pushed old files forward. "Prior complaints go to an outside clerk." Dana nodded. "The portal timestamps every entry. No more forms opened before contact and explained after." Evelyn Price held a paper cup without drinking. "What about people who froze?" Pastor Moore leaned forward. "We write a witness policy." "A what?" a resident asked. Evelyn's voice came thin but steady. "A way to give a statement, not gossip. What you saw." Ortiz wrote, "Statements within 48 hours." Leela came to Marcus with her crayon. "Can I draw on the form?" "Not this one." "Just a flower?" Naomi smiled. "On the community copy." Lila drew a small yellow flower beside what evidence was reviewed first. The crayon left crumbs. No one told her to stop. Belle glanced at Naomi. "Mrs. Reed, Mercer's review is separate, but he's been reassigned from HOA calls pending training." "Training in what?" "Document verification, de-escalation, bias recognition, civil property disputes." Marcus folded his hands. "Will residents know?" "A public bulletin," Bell said. Dana added, "The federal file will note corrective action, not just intent." A woman raised her hand. "And Marla?" Amelia closed her folder. She resigned as president. Any board role requires a vote after review. Naomi's voice softened but did not bend. That is a consequence, not a cure. Amelia wrote, "Board training required." The rain stopped while they read the list aloud. Independent portal. Evidence first. 2-signature escalation. Witness statements. Police verification before restriction. Dinah said, "Mr. Reed, anything else?" Marcus looked at Lila's flower, then at Evelyn, Theo, Ortiz, and the residents watching. "Yes," he said. "Plain language." Riley Chen looked up. "For which section?" "All of it. If a rule needs a lawyer to understand it, it can be used against someone tired or carrying a child's books." Naomi touched the sleeve. "Put that in the introduction." By 9:05, the notice was pinned to the clubhouse board. The first line read, "Every complaint begins with evidence, not assumption." Lila taped her yellow flower beside it, and Marcus held the roll steady while the street outside dried under the porch lights. 3 weeks later, the yellow porch held 4 folding chairs, 2 covered dishes, and 1 pot of marigolds beside the mailbox. Marcus stood in the doorway with his father's photograph. The paper had been cleaned and framed, but the crease still crossed the brick duplex behind his father's shoulder. Lila watched him place it on the shelf by the keys. "Grandpa gets the first look?" she asked. Marcus adjusted the frame. He waited long enough. Outside, Evelyn Price knelt in grass with Lila, pressing soil around the marigolds. Dirt darkened one cuff. "These will come back?" Lila asked. "If the frost is kind," Evelyn said, "and if we remember to water them." Theo Grant arrived with mail under one arm and a foil pan under the other. "I'm off duty, so nobody report me for delivering cornbread." Naomi opened the screen door. "Put it on the table before Marcus claims it as evidence." A laugh moved across the porch without breaking. Across the street, the Whitcomb curtains were open. Marla no longer sat at the HOA table. The final county notice said she had resigned from the board and would hold no association office during review. Glenn kept his treasurer role until the outside clerk finished rebuilding the records. Then he would train the replacement and leave. A week earlier, Sergeant Bell had posted the department bulletin. Officer Mercer had been removed from neighborhood dispute calls during discipline and assigned to supervised retraining on document verification, de-escalation, and housing access. Naomi had read the report twice, then set it down. Facts are enough. Now it rested in a clear sleeve on the clubhouse board beside the new complaint form. Every complaint begins with evidence, not assumption. Pastor Moore came up the walk carrying paper plates. "I brought too many." Marcus took them. "That's the safest problem we've had here." Evelyn brushed soil from her palms. "I wrote my witness template today. First question, what did I actually see?" Lila stuck a wooden marker in the flower bed. She had painted "Read" in yellow letters. The letters leaned, but the sign held. A car slowed near the curb. Every adult turned. It was only a delivery driver checking an address. The car moved on, tires whispering over wet leaves. Later, neighbors placed food on the porch table. Some said sorry. Some only said hello and meant more. Amelia Ross promised the first portal audit in 30 days. Ortiz stopped by out of uniform and gave Lila a sticker shaped like a maple leaf. Marla did not come over. Glenn did. He stood at the bottom step with a sealed box of HOA records. "These are copies," he said, "for the archive." Marcus accepted the box. "Thank you." Glenn nodded once. "I should have read what I signed." "Yes," Marcus said. Nothing else was needed. When the porch emptied, Naomi folded the tablecloth and Lila watered the marigolds with a blue cup. Marcus looked at the mailbox. The old brass plate was gone. The new one was simple, black letters on brushed metal, approved by no emergency and no fear. Naomi joined him at the steps. "Does it feel like home now?" Marcus watched Lila pour too much water, then stop herself and laugh. "Not because they let us stay," he said. "Because we did." Inside, his father's photograph caught the porch light from the shelf by the door. Outside, the marigolds held the last gold of evening. Have you ever seen someone treated like they did not belong before anyone checked the facts? Share your story in the comments, especially if a quiet witness, a document, or one brave sentence changed what happened next. If this story made you think of someone who values dignity and justice, send it to them. Stories like this matter because they remind us that fairness is not only a feeling. It has to be written into rules, training, and everyday choices. Subscribe for more stories about justice, quiet resilience, and the kind of systemic change that begins when one family refuses to disappear